The Galactic Council chamber was never this silent. Usually, the massive room echoed with arguments, deals, and diplomatic greetings. But today, every delegate sat still, eyes fixed on the center holodisplay. A red symbol pulsed slowly, a symbol they all recognized. It came from Earth. For decades, humanity had been part of the Council. They were unpredictable but valuable, builders, explorers, and fierce defenders. Many species admired their ambition. Some feared it. But no one ever expected this. The emergency signal arrived without warning. No ambassador sent it. No diplomatic code was attached. Just a transmission with a single line. All diplomatic relations are hereby terminated. Effective immediately, the message repeated 3 times, and then the connection cut. Every attempt to respond was blocked. Communication lines that had stayed open for generations went dead in seconds. High Chancellor Vereen, a tall avian creature with golden feathers, broke the silence first. "This must be a mistake," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "Perhaps a technical fault." But Admiral Ralcor, a reptilian warrior species leader, slammed his claw on the table. "Humans don't make mistakes like this. They plan. If they cut communication, it means something." Delegates began whispering, then arguing. Some demanded immediate contact with the Terran embassy. Others wanted to send ships towards Seoul to find out what happened. In the far corner, the human seats were empty. The ambassadors had left their posts the night before, quietly and without any public notice. No one had noticed until now. Council security officers brought new reports. Across multiple systems, human diplomatic stations were being evacuated. Ships were leaving alien worlds, heading back to Earth and its colonies. Trade channels connected to human space were closing one by one. Panic spread fast. "They warned us during the resource summit," one delegate whispered. "They said if their sovereignty was ignored again, they would act," another replied. But no one truly believed humanity would ever shut itself off from the galaxy. The humans had always pushed for more contact, more influence. They had built starports, colonies, and alliances. Their diplomats were everywhere, and now they were gone. The Council ordered an emergency scan of Sol space. Within minutes, data came in, but it made no sense. Every probe sent near human territory was either turned back by automated defenses or lost entirely. A thick wall of electronic silence surrounded Earth and its colonies. "It's like they vanished," one intelligence officer said. "No," Admiral Ralcor growled. "It's like they closed the gates and locked them from the inside." The Council quickly organized a closed session. The room dimmed, the doors sealed, and security drones floated overhead to block any transmissions. High Chancellor Vereen stood and addressed the assembly. "Something serious has happened. Humanity has ended all diplomacy. If this is an act of war, we must be ready. If it is not, we must understand why." Representatives from multiple species raised their concerns. Humanity had powerful fleets, advanced technology, and unmatched speed in building war infrastructure. If they decided to turn hostile, the balance of the entire galaxy could shift overnight. A nervous delegate from a smaller species asked, "Do we have any signs of mobilization?" An intelligence commander answered, "Not yet. But our long-range sensors near Jupiter detected unusual energy spikes. Something big is happening out there." The mention of Jupiter sent a wave of unease through the chamber. Humanity had always treated Jupiter's orbit as a secretive zone. Rumors spoke of hidden shipyards, experimental weapons, and colossal stations under construction. The Council had tried to inspect it years ago and were politely but firmly denied. Now, with all diplomacy severed, that secret was once again a dark shadow. Meanwhile, far away, at the edge of human space, a small alien scout vessel approached one of the border stations. Its mission was simple: make contact, find answers, and report back. The crew expected silence or maybe a warning. Instead, as soon as they crossed into human territory, every system on their ship went dark. No alarms, no explosions. Just instant shutdown. The vessel drifted silently for a few seconds before vanishing from all Council tracking. Back in the chamber, a security aide ran in, pale and trembling. A council scout has disappeared near Terran Border Station Theta. The arguing stopped. High Chancellor Vereen stared at the glowing red symbol still hovering in the air. She whispered to herself, "They're serious this time." For years, the Council had underestimated humanity. They saw humans as ambitious, but bound by Council law. They pushed, but they always stopped short of rebellion. But deep inside human space, things had been changing. Massive fleets had quietly returned home. Diplomatic envoys were withdrawn months in advance. And deep beneath the gas clouds of Jupiter, a structure unlike anything in galactic history was almost complete. The Council had no idea what was coming. Outside, stars burned as they always did. But for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt smaller, trapped between fear and silence. And somewhere behind that silence, humanity watched. Waiting, the Galactic Council chamber was now filled with voices. The silence from earlier had turned into loud shouting. Leaders from dozens of species spoke at once, their translators struggling to keep up. Fear spread like fire through the room. Admiral Ralcor stood at the center platform, his scales reflecting the red emergency lights. "We cannot sit here and do nothing," he roared. "If humanity has truly cut all ties, then we must prepare for war." Immediately, several diplomatic species objected. "This is not war," shouted Delegate Myron from the peaceful Avari species. "This is a message. We need to send envoys, not fleets. And what if their envoys never return?" Ralcor replied coldly, "Just like the scout ship that disappeared." The mention of the missing scout silenced the room for a brief moment. The Council's intelligence officers confirmed it again. The ship vanished without a trace. No distress call, no debris. Just gone. High Chancellor Vereen tried to restore order. She raised her wings to signal quiet, but the shouting continued. She slammed the gavel on the podium. "Enough." The chamber fell silent. She looked around at the hundreds of alien faces staring back. "Panic will not help us. We must understand what is happening. Humanity has always acted with reason, even when they were bold. If they ended diplomacy, there is a reason. We must find it." An old insectoid delegate clicked his mandibles nervously. "Or they are preparing something," he whispered. Reports began flooding into the chamber. Across the galaxy, human embassies were shutting down. On border worlds, Terran personnel were boarding transports, abandoning entire stations overnight. On trade routes, human freighters turned back mid-journey and disappeared into jump space. Delegate Myron stood up again. "If they wanted war, they would have struck already. This is something else. We need to send a council team directly to Earth and demand answers." But an intelligence officer interrupted. "That will not be possible. All hyperlane routes into Sol system are blocked. Automated defense grids have been activated. Our probes can't even get near Mars orbit without being disabled." The chamber grew tense. Every alien there understood what this meant. Humanity had prepared this. This was not sudden chaos. It was planned step by step. Admiral Ralcor leaned forward. "They have isolated themselves. But why now?" Another report came in from the Eastern Rim sectors. Human fleets were seen returning to their core worlds at high speed. Thousands of civilian ships followed behind, forming massive convoys. It looked like a retreat, but the precision of their movements was military. "They're pulling everything back," Vereen murmured. "Every ship, every station, every citizen, they're gathering." The idea made the chamber grow colder. The galaxy had seen rebellions before, but never anything like this. Humanity was a major power. If they chose to break away, it would change the entire balance of the stars. Suddenly, the holodisplay lit up with a new signal. A long-range monitoring station near the neutral zone picked up something strange. A massive encrypted data burst had been sent from deep within Sol system. It wasn't directed toward anyone. It was sent in all directions, but it was unreadable. Layers upon layers of human encryption. The analysts shook their heads. "We can't break it, not even close. It's like nothing we've seen before." Some delegates looked at each other nervously. Humanity's technological advancements had always been fast, but this was something entirely new. One delegate finally said what many were thinking: they're preparing for something big. while the Council argued. In a distant star system, a small fleet of Council ships tried to approach one of humanity's deep space relay stations. The station was old, but had been upgraded many times over the years. As the fleet neared, their sensors went blind. Every ship's system froze simultaneously. Power vanished. Engines died. Within seconds, the station came alive with hundreds of turrets, but no shots were fired. Instead, the human station simply sent one message to the entire fleet. Turn back. The fleet turned back. They had no choice. Back in the chamber, High Chancellor Varine's patience was wearing thin. We need answers, not guesses. Intelligence Division, gather everything we have on human movements in the last cycle. The holodisplay changed to a star map. Dozens of blinking red dots showed the movement of Terran fleets. Slowly, a pattern emerged. They were forming a ring around their territory, a fortified perimeter. Ralcor pointed at the map. This is a wall. A defensive wall. They are sealing themselves in. No, another officer said. They are sealing us out. A heavy silence followed those words. The council chamber, usually a place of politics and deals, now felt like a war room. Rumors began spreading among the delegates. Some believed humanity had developed a superweapon. Others whispered that they had discovered something in deep space and no longer needed the council. In a private corner of the chamber, two alien diplomats spoke in hushed voices. They're not bluffing this time, one said. They've been planning this for years, the other replied. We were too busy fighting each other to notice. Suddenly, the chamber lights dimmed again. A new message appeared on the central display, not from humanity, but from multiple border colonies. Trade stations near human space reported strange energy readings coming from Jupiter's orbit. The readings were massive. Bigger than any station the Council had ever built, the chamber erupted again. Some shouted to prepare fleets. Others begged for diplomacy. High Chancellor Varine could only stare at the screen. She knew this was only the beginning. In the quiet corners of space, humanity continued to move silently. Their ships disappeared behind their new walls. Their diplomats were gone, and the Council, for the first time, had no control. The galaxy had entered a new chapter. In the following days, the Galactic Council tried everything. They sent diplomatic messages through every known channel, attempted to reopen old communication relays, and even offered to send neutral envoys. Every message was ignored. Every signal bounced back. Earth remained completely silent. The silence was not normal. It was strategic. It was the kind of silence that made entire governments nervous. Across the galaxy, news networks began broadcasting rumors. Some said humanity was preparing to launch a war, unlike any in history. Others believed Earth had developed a secret technology that made the Council irrelevant. A few even claimed that humans were leaving the galaxy entirely. Inside the council chamber, tension had reached a breaking point. Delegates who were once allies now shouted at each other. Admiral Ralcor slammed his claw on the table. Enough waiting. Silence is their weapon. Every hour we sit here, they build something behind that wall. High Chancellor Varine spread her wings. And if we attack blindly, we may trigger a war that will consume us all. Humanity is not a minor power. If we provoke them, they will strike back. Ralcor's eyes narrowed. Then what do you suggest? We do nothing. Before Varine could answer, an intelligence officer rushed in with new reports. 3 more scout ships have gone missing, he announced. All near the Sol perimeter. No signals. No wreckage. The chamber fell quiet. It was becoming clear. Humanity didn't want anyone near their space. The Council's border sectors started reporting unusual human fleet movements. Massive convoys were entering Sol space, not randomly, but in carefully timed patterns. Ship after ship disappeared behind the invisible line, like soldiers returning home for a final stand. A hollow map of the region showed a clear image. Human fleets were gathering near Jupiter, Mars, and multiple colony worlds. Civilian transports were escorted by warships. Thousands of vessels formed into tight formations before vanishing behind sensor jamming fields. They're not hiding, Ralcor muttered. They're showing us that they can hide when they want to. At the same time, Council trade hubs near human borders started shutting down. Merchants abandoned stations. Civilian populations were evacuated from frontier colonies. No one wanted to be near whatever was coming. A small, neutral research vessel tried to pass through human space quietly, pretending to be a drifting freighter. It never returned. Instead, a single automated message was received hours later. "Do not enter Terran space. This is your only warning." The message was calm, almost polite, but it carried a weight that froze every council leader who read it. High Chancellor Vereen called an emergency night session. Only top officials and military leaders were allowed. The room was dark, the air tense. Our sensors detected something unusual. An intelligence commander began. "Massive energy readings from the orbit of Jupiter. We believe they are constructing a structure of unprecedented scale." The holo display showed a grainy image, a dark, curved silhouette against Jupiter's swirling clouds. It was incomplete, but already enormous, larger than any council station. The room erupted with questions. "Is it a weapon? Is it a base? Is it a shipyard?" The commander shook his head. "We don't know. Whatever it is shielded. Our probes cannot scan through the energy fields surrounding it." Ralcor leaned forward. "This is why they ended diplomacy. They've been preparing for this moment." A quiet, older delegate from a border world spoke up. "They warned us during the resource accords. They said if the Council kept interfering with their expansion, they would stop talking and start building." The words echoed in the room. Many had dismissed those warnings as human arrogance. But now it seemed humanity had meant every word. The Council debated sending a large fleet to the Sul border, not to attack, but to observe more closely. Ralcor supported the idea. If we show strength, maybe they'll respond. Predators respect predators, Vreen disagreed. Or they will see it as a threat and crush that fleet without hesitation. Humanity is not like others. They do not bluff. If they say stay out, they mean it. Despite her warnings, several member species began quietly moving fleets toward Terran space on their own. They didn't trust the Council to act quickly enough. Small task forces were deployed near jump lanes, hiding behind asteroids and empty stations. Within hours, their sensors picked up something terrifying. Human ships began to appear on the edge of their scans, silent, cloaked, and positioned in perfect formations. They did not broadcast signals. They did not respond to hails. One alien captain reported seeing a massive human battleship up close. "It just appeared," he said. "No warning, no jump signature. It was there, staring at us. And then it vanished again." Word spread quickly through the Council. Humanity had new stealth technology. Back in the chamber, Vereen faced rising pressure. "If we do nothing, they will dominate us," Ralcor shouted. "And if we rush in, they will destroy us," she replied. The Council's intelligence division showed a final image that night. A satellite near neutral space had captured a brief, clear glimpse of the structure near Jupiter. It was not just a station. It was a fortress. Multiple rings surrounded a central core. Docking arms extended in every direction. Thousands of lights dotted its surface. And human fleets swarmed around it like bees around a hive. A single line of text accompanied the image. "Terran Defense Bastion. Completion 87%. The chamber was silent. Even Ralcor could not speak. For the first time, the Council realized something terrifying. Humanity didn't just end diplomacy to isolate itself. It ended diplomacy because it no longer needed anyone else. And the silence was their loudest message yet. The image of the massive structure near Jupiter spread across the galaxy within hours. It was supposed to be classified, but information leaks always found a way out. Within one rotation cycle, every major news network in the galaxy was broadcasting the same blurry but terrifying picture. A colossal ring-shaped fortress. Surrounded by fleets, people across distant worlds stared at their screens in disbelief. Many didn't even believe the scale reports. "No species can build something that big in such a short time," one commentator said. But deep down, they all knew humanity could. In the Galactic Council chamber, the mood had shifted from confusion to fear. The delegates sat in their seats quietly as the intelligence team replayed the same image again and again, zooming in on different parts of the station. "This is not a simple defense station," the lead analyst said. "Look here," she pointed to the outer ring. "These modules resemble long-range weapon arrays. Not for planetary defense, but for controlling entire star lanes." The image shifted to the inner layers. Massive docking arms extended outward like the legs of a giant mechanical beast. Hundreds of ships were docked, with more arriving every hour. "This core section," the analyst continued, "is larger than the entire Avari central habitat. If they finish this structure, they could project power across half the galaxy without ever leaving their system." Whispers filled the chamber. Even the warlike species, usually confident and loud, were silent now. Admiral Ralcor stood slowly. "I warned you," he said. "They were not retreating. They were building." High Chancellor Vereen tapped her claws on the table. "We need to confirm its purpose before jumping to conclusions. Humanity may be preparing for defense, not attack." Ralcor let out a sharp hiss. "A defense station doesn't need to be that big. They're making something to rule with, not just to survive." New reports poured in. Long-range probes detected massive energy surges near Jupiter, followed by sudden signal loss. Some observers claimed to have seen huge metallic plates sliding into place around the station's ring. Others reported that human shipyards across Mars and Luna had gone into overdrive, producing vessels at a speed no other species could match. Delegates argued, but beneath their voices was the same truth. Humanity had outpaced them. An emergency military session was called. Only top-ranking Council fleet commanders were allowed. In a dimly lit war room, star maps covered the walls. The intelligence chief began. "We estimate the structure is 90% complete. Once fully operational, its sensor net could control all approaches to Sol. Its weapon systems, if active, could likely neutralize any fleet we send." A commander from the Varkan species asked, "Can we destroy it before it's finished?" The room fell silent. The question was dangerous. "We can't," another officer answered. "Their defense perimeter is already impenetrable. Any strike fleet would be detected and erased long before reaching Jupiter." High Chancellor Vereen joined the session. "Our problem is not only the structure, it is what it represents. Humanity has cut all diplomacy, fortified its borders, and built something that challenges the Council's authority. If they declare independence, half the galaxy may follow them." Everyone in the room knew she was right. Many species had grown frustrated with the Council's slow decisions and endless politics. Humanity, in contrast, acted fast and decisively. If they broke away and formed their own power block, others might join them. In the following days, more terrifying information emerged. A rogue merchant convoy passed near the edge of human space and managed to send one last transmission before vanishing. It showed a clearer image of the station. This time, there was no doubt the structure was nearly complete. Massive towers rose along its outer rim. Dozens of gigantic cannons were visible. Fleet formations orbited it in layers, each perfectly synchronized. When the images reached the council chamber, some delegates refused to believe it. "It must be a fake," they said. "No one can build that so fast." But Admiral Ralcor simply stared at the display. "They've been building it for years. We just never saw it." The chamber broke into chaos again. Some demanded immediate military buildup. Others insisted on sending desperate diplomatic envoys to beg for talks. A few even suggested surrendering parts of border space to avoid conflict. Vereen slammed her gavel. "Enough! Humanity has not declared war, but they have sent us a message through their actions. We must respond wisely, not blindly." Meanwhile, far away near human space, an unauthorized Council observation fleet tried to get closer to the station under stealth mode. Their ships used advanced cloaking fields, believing they could slip through undetected. They were wrong. As they approached, all their systems suddenly froze. One by one, their ships lit up on human sensors like lanterns in the dark. A voice came through their comms. It was calm, clear, and human. "You are in restricted space. Leave immediately." The commander of the fleet hesitated. Before he could decide, dozens of human warships decloaked around them, silent, sharp, and perfectly positioned. The alien fleet turned around without a fight. The message was loud and clear. Do not test us. Back in the council chamber, the observation fleet's report stunned everyone. They saw through our cloaks like they were nothing, the commander said. Their detection systems are far beyond what we expected. Fear turned into something else. Realization. Humanity wasn't simply preparing. Humanity had already finished preparing, and no one noticed until it was too late. Reen addressed the chamber one final time that day. We stand at a turning point. If we move against them, we may trigger a war we cannot win. If we stay still, their power will grow unchecked. Either way, the galaxy will never be the same again. The holodisplay showed the structure near Jupiter one last time. Lights rippled across its surface like the heartbeat of a giant machine, and deep within human space, the final components were sliding into place. For weeks, the Galactic Council tried to decide what to do. Endless meetings, arguments, and secret discussions filled the chamber. But while the aliens debated, humanity moved like a single focused mind. The structure near Jupiter was now confirmed to be fully operational. Human fleets patrolled their borders with silent precision. Every day, more ships disappeared behind their defense lines. Probes sent by the Council were either destroyed or turned back with cold efficiency. Then, one morning, a single message arrived. It wasn't through diplomatic channels, because those no longer existed. It came through every wideband frequency used by the Council: military, civilian, trade, even public broadcast. Every planet, station, and ship received it at the exact same time. The holographic transmission showed a single human figure. He was dressed in a dark uniform with a simple emblem on his chest, Earth's insignia. His face was calm, expression unreadable. Behind him, the silhouette of the massive Jupiter fortress filled the background. "To the Galactic Council," the man began, his voice firm but controlled. "This is the final statement from the Terran Union. All diplomatic ties remain permanently severed. Any foreign vessel entering Terran space will be treated as hostile. There will be no negotiations. There will be no exceptions. Do not test us." The message lasted less than a minute. No threats, no demands. Just facts. When it ended, silence filled the council chamber. Not a single delegate spoke for several seconds. Admiral Ralcor broke the silence first. "There it is. The ultimatum." High Chancellor Vereen sat back in her chair, wings slightly drooping. "It's not even an ultimatum," she whispered. "It's a declaration of reality." Across the galaxy, the reaction was immediate. On frontier colonies, people began evacuating, fearing war. Merchant guilds rerouted their ships away from human space. Entire trade networks started to collapse in the sectors connected to Earth. Smaller species panicked, fearing they would be caught between the Council and humanity. Larger powers quietly began moving fleets, not toward Terran space, but toward their own borders, to prepare for whatever came next. Inside the Council, chaos returned. Some delegates shouted to prepare for war, to show strength. Others begged to seek some secret back-channel for peace. One diplomat cried out, "They can't just leave the Council like this. They're part of us." Ralcor turned to him sharply. "They were. Not anymore." Intelligence officers reported that humanity had begun mass-producing new warships at a scale never seen before. Drone swarms, planetary defense grids, and mobile fleet carriers were being constructed simultaneously. Their industrial base had gone into full war mode, but with terrifying efficiency. "They're not waiting for us to act," one officer said. "They're acting as if war is already certain." The Council decided to send a final, desperate envoy, a small, neutral diplomatic vessel with no weapons, carrying a message of understanding and peace. It approached the border carefully, broadcasting its peaceful intentions. It vanished. No distress call. No wreckage. Only one last signal, a calm human voice saying, "Turn back." Then silence. The envoy never returned. This act split the Council even further. Some accused humanity of cruelty. Others whispered that the envoy had crossed into restricted space, despite clear warnings. The fear grew heavier each day. Meanwhile, along the border between Terran and Council space, strange events began to unfold. Council monitoring stations reported unexplained power losses. Communication arrays failed without warning. Patrol ships disappeared from sensors for hours, then returned with their crews, unable to remember what happened. More worrying was the appearance of human fleets in unexpected places. One Varkan patrol squadron was stationed near a neutral asteroid belt. They thought they were alone, until dozens of human ships appeared behind them without any detectable jump signatures. The humans didn't attack. They simply hovered there in complete silence, watching when the Varkan squadron tried to reposition. The human ships disappeared as if they were never there. "They're everywhere," one frightened captain reported, "and we can't see them until they want us to." Inside the council chamber, fear turned to desperation. Some species quietly began to consider making separate deals with humanity. Others pushed for forming a united war fleet. High Chancellor Vereen called a closed emergency session. "Listen carefully," she said. "Humanity is not playing politics anymore. They've built a fortress, mobilized fleets, and issued a clear warning. If we make a single wrong move, they will treat it as war. And unlike other enemies, they won't hesitate." Admiral Ralcor pounded the table. "Then maybe war is the only answer. If we let them grow any stronger, soon they'll be unstoppable." "They might already be," Vereen replied softly. A holographic star map showed new human fleet deployments. Strategic positions near key hyperlanes were now occupied. Terran fleets had surrounded major jump points like a tightening net. "They're not just defending," one intelligence officer said. "They're positioning to control movement in and out of their region." For centuries, the Council had held power through diplomacy, shared trade, and collective defense. But now one member, one species, had cut itself off completely, built something far greater, and dared the galaxy to challenge it. And the terrifying thing was, no one was sure if the Council could win, if it came to that. That night, as the chamber emptied, High Chancellor Vereen stood alone, looking at the star map. Dozens of red markers, human fleets, pulsed on the edges of Council territory. "They're changing everything," she whispered to herself, "and we're too slow to stop it." Meanwhile, in human space, the fortress near Jupiter came fully online. Giant energy barriers flickered across its rings. Human fleets took up their final positions, silent and ready. Then, for the first time, the fortress broadcast a short signal. It was simple. It was clear. "Borders closed. Trespassers will not return." The message repeated 3 times, then faded. The ultimatum was over. The waiting had begun. The Galactic Council chamber had never felt this unstable. The walls that once echoed with speeches and trade negotiations now trembled with fear and anger. Rumors spread faster than official reports. Delegates whispered in their corners. Military commanders barked orders, and ambassadors quietly prepared escape routes. Humanity's ultimatum had shattered the illusion of control. For centuries, the Council had believed it ruled the stars through diplomacy and shared strength. But now, one species had walked away and built something beyond their reach. And the galaxy couldn't stop talking about it. On dozens of worlds, panic began to show. Civilians started fleeing border colonies near Terran space. Trade hubs that once flourished went dark. Stations that connected human and alien routes stood empty like abandoned skeletons drifting in orbit. The Council's Intelligence Division presented a new report that made things worse. "Multiple monitoring stations along the Terran border have gone silent," the officer said. "Power grids are failing, ships are disappearing, and long-range sensors are being jammed on a scale we've never seen before." High Chancellor Vereen stood at the center podium. Her feathers were dimmer than before, her voice carrying the weight of fear. "Are these attacks?" she asked. The officer shook his head. "No visible attacks. It's as if their systems are being switched off remotely. Terran fleets don't even appear. Things just stop working," a nervous delegate shouted. "They're testing us." Ralcor rose from his seat. His sharp eyes scanned the room. "No," he growled. "They're not testing. They're ready. And they're watching us panic." He wasn't wrong. Across the galaxy, member species were acting out of fear. The Korin Empire began secretly moving fleets to their own borders, ignoring Council commands. The Avari Republic pulled their diplomats from Council space, declaring neutrality. Even small species, who once depended on Council protection, began making private deals with Terran traders through hidden channels. The unity that held the Council together was crumbling. Meanwhile, near the Terran border, the first massive Council fleet was assembled, not for attack, but to show strength. Dozens of warships from multiple species gathered at a neutral jump point. Banners of unity flashed across their hulls. Admiral Ralcor took command of the operation. "We will not cross their border," he said to his officers. "But they must see that we are not afraid." The fleet formed into tight formations and began moving toward Terran space. Long-range communication channels were opened to broadcast a show of force. But as soon as they reached the border, everything changed. Sensors picked up movement. Hundreds of human warships appeared on their scanners almost instantly. They had been there the entire time, waiting in perfect silence. Battleships, carriers, and swarms of smaller vessels surrounded the Council fleet on three sides. The humans didn't fire. They didn't speak. They simply appeared, their formations flawless, their weapons online. Every alien officer on the bridge froze. The scale was overwhelming. Even combined, the Council fleet looked small compared to what the Terrans had assembled. "Send a message," Ralcor ordered. "State that we're here in peace to ensure stability." But before the message finished transmitting, a single human signal cut through their entire communication network. "This is Terran space. Turn back. Final warning." The voice was calm, cold, absolute. Ralcor hesitated. His instincts told him to fight, but his logic screamed the truth. They wouldn't win. He gave the order to retreat. As the fleet turned away, the human ships didn't pursue. They simply faded back into the shadows of their territory, disappearing one by one. The message was clear. "We see you. We control this space." Back in the Council chamber, the news spread like wildfire. The show of strength had turned into a humiliating retreat. Public confidence in the Council collapsed. On many worlds, protests erupted. Citizens demanded answers. Some accused the Council of provoking a war it couldn't win. Others begged for submission to Terran authority. Vreen called an emergency session with all high-ranking members. "We are losing control," she said plainly. "Not because of war, but because of fear. The Council was built on unity. Humanity has broken that with silence and strength." Some delegates demanded launching a surprise attack before the Terran fortress could grow stronger. Others shouted that doing so would be suicide. The chamber became a storm of shouting voices and desperate plans. In the middle of the noise, a quiet voice spoke from the back. It was an elderly diplomat who had served during the first contact with humanity decades ago. "They warned us," he said softly. "They told us what would happen if we kept interfering. We thought they needed us. But the truth is, it was we who needed them." The room fell silent for a moment. His words were like a blade through the chaos. Outside near Jupiter, the Terran fortress fully activated its shield network. Gigantic energy fields expanded like a second atmosphere, enclosing the structure and the surrounding fleets. Any ship entering that space without permission would vanish in seconds. Council intelligence confirmed what many feared. Human fleets were not just defending their borders. They had begun extending their sensor nets and patrol routes deeper into space. Quietly, systematically. "They're expanding without speaking a single word," one analyst said. Vreen looked at the star map. Terran influence was spreading like ripples through water. Not through diplomacy, not through invasion, through quiet, controlled power. The Galactic Council had no answer for this kind of strategy. As the session ended, Vreen remained in the chamber alone. She stared at the holographic image of the human fortress. Its lights glowed steadily, like the eye of something ancient and patient. "They don't need to attack," she whispered. "They've already won the moment we started to panic." Outside, in the endless dark of space, Terran fleets held their silent watch. No declarations, no threats, just power. And the galaxy watched in fear, realizing that the age of Council dominance was ending, not with war, but with human silence.